Agenda for this evening is this. We're going to go through this. I have a few, I want to go through my state of the schools, and then we also have visitors from, I believe, 3 of our township and villages that we represent. So, but I'd first like to welcome our Board of Education President, Mr. John Lynch, if you come forward.
Thank you. I apologize. I'm not feeling well this evening, so I'm just going to try to get through this, and probably much to your applause and happiness, I will be brief. So I just want to take a moment to thank the various government representatives that are here this evening. I think Hebron, Union Township, maybe Buckeye Lake, um, the village of Hebron, and Licking Township are all here. If I missed anybody, I do apologize again. Um, I'm proud since I've joined the board. I've talked about various things that we've been able to accomplish, and one of those is technology and being able to stream these meetings and bring them to the community. So I don't want to age myself and say thanks to the audio video team, but I'll just say thanks to the tech guys for making this happen tonight. So thank you again. I've often commented that spring is my favorite time of year here in the district. Baseball is getting ready to defend a district championship. Softball is getting ready to break in a new or remodeled complex. Drama is working on their always popular spring production. The kids, especially the class of 2024, near and dear to my heart, are finishing up AP, CCP, career readiness, and perhaps service to our country after they graduate. So best of luck to them as they keep pushing across that finish line. And I just want to say that we do have a lot here to offer at Lakewood. So as progress continues to progress, I would hope that you would keep Lakewood, front of mind in your conversations with different groups and entities, because we do, educate many of the children, and we do want to see them go on to be successful. And a lot of that comes from our reliance upon the different communities that we serve. So again, front of mind for our students. We really appreciate it. And now, Dr. Mark Glykoff.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lynch. We have other board members who are with us tonight. I'd like to acknowledge them, Mrs. Kelly Rayburn, Mr. Brandon Salyer, and Mr. Jeremy Weekly. Unfortunately, Mr. Dave Lohr could not make it this evening. So wanted to get started here really and take a few moments to really kind of celebrate where we are right now with our Lakewood local schools. But we wouldn't be here tonight if it weren't for a great group of people, and that is many of our school administrators, and many of them are seated over here. We also have Mr. Walker, and many of the others are here, our principals, our supervisors, our coordinators. A lot of the accomplishments that I'm going to speak about tonight really are due to the hard work of these folks. They've done some excellent work, and the accomplishments and the things that we've done, the progress is due to their work. And so I want to really make that statement here in public for all. So as we go, I want to take a look back at our last year, and as you look at some of the things that are up on that screen, there is a lot there that has occurred. And each one of those separately is quite amazing. So I want to kind of go through each of these and kind of talk about them because they're quite significant, but they are very interrelated in that respect. So let's start with strategic planning. It was about a year ago at this time when we got together and said, hey, let's get strategic planning. It had been about 4 or 5 years since the district had really done comprehensive planning. And so we got together. We actually met for 4 different meetings over the course of the springtime. And we had many folks who came, different stakeholders, from students, from teachers, administrators, parents, community members, and so forth, doing a lot of great work. And I'm going to kind of highlight that in just a moment. But I think first I want to acknowledge those folks that were a part of that. And this is a list of the names of the individuals who were involved in that strategic planning. I think the thing that I'm most proud of, though, is the fact that when you have multiple meetings for strategic planning, typically you get a lot of people at that first meeting, and then it kind of wanes off as it goes on. These numbers really sustain themselves from first meeting all the way to the 4th. And so the work that really was done was great work by all of these folks, and I appreciate that. So what did they do? What did they accomplish? Well, one of the first things they really did was look at our vision and our mission as a school district and redefine that as a group. And so you're going to see that new vision of the Lakewood Local Schools: reimaging education, instilling community pride, and inspiring future success. And again, that vision is essentially that. Where we want to go, what we want to be as a school district as we go out into the future. And then we reaffirmed what our mission would be. What are we going to do day to day that's going to get us to achieve that vision? And that mission, Lakewood, a family-friendly, inclusive community dedicated to empowering every learner through innovation, collaborative problem solving, and consistent communication. And so there's a lot of words in there, but I think the key ones that come out are community, collaboration, and communication. Those are critical elements that really came out through those four meetings. And then the core values you see there: the pride with positive, respectful, integrity, determined, and engaged. The group there said, hey, these are items that we actually expect with our students. Why not we have those be expectations for ourselves as well? And so that was a great way to kind of really cement this. So as the team progressed, they came to 5 critical goal areas: student experience, staff experience, facility and resource management, culture of inclusion and belonging, and community pride and engagement. So let me kind of explain a little bit of each of those. First, the student experience. What's that include? Essentially that. What are our students involved with? Whether it's, what happens in the classroom, student achievement. It could be mental health, hands-on, extracurriculars, athletics. There's a lot that's in that, but essentially what our students are experiencing while they're in our schools. The staff experience. Really the essential point was here: how do we attract, retain, and professionally develop our staff? How do we do that? Because we're now in competition with a lot of other people for our folks. And how are we going to do that to the best so that we want them to believe, hey, I want to be a Lakewood Lancer and work for us and serve our students. Facility and resource management. That theme came out very strong and loud and clear, and that was, how are you going to maintain and keep our facilities high quality for our students, our staff, and our community? Culture of inclusion and belonging. This theme came out also. There was an acknowledgement that yes, as Lakewood, we are changing. So how do we prepare ourselves and also educate ourselves to be able to be ready for this Lakewood? Community pride and engagement. Again, an area that really kind of cemented it as well. There was obviously a lot of pride in being Lakewood, a Lakewood Lancer. And how do we build that? How do we build that pride? How do we build that brand? How do we build that idea of we want to have pride, and we know that the schools become a focal point and a center point for a lot of our communities. And so that strategic plan work, and I'm going to mention a little bit at the end because that work is not done. That's going to continuously be a part of that. But the second area that I brought up here on that first screen was continued academic improvements. And I'm very proud of some of the work here. But I think we first got to always start with, what is our graduates? This is our most recent graduating class. Class of 2023, 134 graduates walked across the stage at Lakewood High School back in last May. And here's what they accomplished. And I'm not going to go through every one of those metrics, but there's a lot there. I think to highlight some of the things you might want to look at: how much money these students earned in scholarships and grants. Nearly $2 million, this class of 134 graduates. 422 college credits were earned while they were sitting in high school. And take it from somebody who has 2 daughters in college, that means dollars and cents. I think another number that's significant here is 62. And that is the number of students in this graduating class. Nearly half that were 13-year club. Shows the generational element of Lakewood. And so I think there's some significant numbers there to really kind of talk about, but these are things that we're very, very proud of in terms of that. But what else? The state report card, a metric, whether you like it or not, it is a metric that we look at and we have to take a look at in value for what it tells us of where we are and where we perhaps need to, maybe enhance and do some extra work in there. This is our most recent report card from September of 23. On a 5-star rating, you're going to notice we got 5 out of 5 in terms of progress. We try to make students have at least a year's growth in a year's time, something we're extremely proud of. Gap closing, 4 stars, and achievement in graduation and early literacy, 3 stars. This past year, they gave a rating overall to the school district of 4 stars. So we're very pleased with that. But let's dig into this a little bit. These are the numbers that I think really shows the progress in that term improvement that I said at the very start. If you look at all of the English language arts students in grades 3 through 8, notice the progress over the last couple of years. The trend is increase. It's up. Math, grades 3 through 8. The trend is up. Algebra, EOC, for those out there, that means that's the end of course exam for the algebra. The trend is up. U.S. government, here at the high school as well, end of course exam. The trend is up. And then there's this performance index. And to give you just a little snapshot of what that means, they take all the tests that are given and they weight them how the students score, maybe advanced or accelerated or proficient, and they have a calculator to that. If you obviously score higher, you get a higher calculator to that. And they looked at 2019, and why do I pick that year? If you think about it, that's 2018, 2019, full year before the pandemic. Our performance index was about 82. Last year, we were up at 84.7. So why is that significant? Just to tell you that we've got over 600 school districts in the state of Ohio. Only 110 of those, 1 in 6, had a performance index that increased between these 2 years. Lakewood was one of those. Showing that we are an outlier. We are making the progress. We are making improvements. Again, a lot of credit to our administrators, our teachers, and obviously our students. And so we are making progress, discernible progress with that. But what about outside of our school district? What outside those numbers? Just recently, very proud that Jackson Intermediate School was named a National Distinguished School. One of 100 in the country, only 2 in the state named for that. Why were we named for that? Because of the exceptional student performance and academic growth as defined. So congratulations to Principal Klein, previous Principal Field, as well as the teachers and the students over there. Well done, great work. But that's indicative of all the work that's being done in all of our schools. What else? There's a lot of other accomplishments. Our kids do great things day in and day out, and we try to celebrate that, whether it's successful teams or successful STEM performances or whatever. You're going to notice a picture up there of our 2 bowling teams. Our girls bowling team is the 2-time LCL champs, and really a shout out to them as they are competing in the state tournament in 2 days in Columbus. And so good luck to them. But we've got accomplishments all over the place. From STEM Fest and the works, we have kids that do well there. Wrestlers, and again, we have some wrestlers also that are competing this weekend in the district, so good luck to those folks. But we've got so many kids and so many accomplishments, so we're very proud of them. Obviously, another big thing that happened over the last year was opening up a new Lakewood Elementary School, and I put new in air quotes, and then decommissioning Hebron Elementary. So we took Jackson B and moved our students from Hebron Elementary over to Lakewood Elementary, which was the old Jackson B. We have been very, very pleased with that, and I think that's been a great transition. I want to thank Mrs. Henry and her team for the work with that, and obviously, our custodial staff and everybody. That was truly a team effort, and certainly, Mrs. Pickering and Mrs. Plaisted know that we were talking and working on this for almost 18 months. But with that, what does that look like? You're going to notice there some pictures of the modular classrooms. We have 8 additional classrooms that are attached to the back of that building, where our second grade is housed. We've got a music class. We also have a computer lab. We see the new playground is there, and that's really due to generous donations of folks. And then obviously there's the front of that. But we are so proud of that, and to be able to have all of our students now in the district in climate-controlled settings and all on the same campus in Lancer Road. It's really great for us, and we are proud of that and excited about it. And certainly we want to thank Hebron Elementary for all that it did for us in Hebron School. And, we decommissioned that with the pride that it deserves and the dignity it deserves. And certainly we're still working on the sale of that property. Facility improvements. I talked about some facility improvements here, but we did more than that. Obviously, those classrooms that I spoke about in Lakewood Elementary, we had to redo the entire kitchen there so we could make that functional and operational. And, Mr. Lynch just talked a little bit about this. We're excited about the softball field renovations. As our team gets ready, probably about 3 or 4 weeks from maybe the first game, that field is really going to be field ready, and we're excited about that, and that program certainly is deserving of it. Another big highlight of the last year was a safety grant, and we're excited about this because we had applied for this grant and received $100,000 for each one of our schools, so for $400,000 in total. And we highlighted that. It was great work. We worked with our school resource officers really in the writing of this because of really focused on the safety. Things we did with that. Some of the safety entrance that we have now in Jackson Intermediate School, a safety vestibule. If you recall that building, visitors would come right into the first hallway, right into the open hallway, and now having that safety vestibule. We're looking at fob access controls for all of our buildings, safety cameras, outside lighting, things that make our campus and our classrooms and our schools safer. And so that's still going to be progressing over the summer. But certainly we want to also highlight fiscal responsibility. And this is a credit to everybody and certainly Mrs. Plaisted in the Treasurer's Office. Over the last 2 years, 2 consecutive years now of our revenues exceeding expenditures. All of us who have a budget at home know what that means. We're living within our means. We are so thankful for what we get from our taxpayers here in Lakewood, and we want to use those financial resources very, very responsibly. And so we're happy with that, and we're pleased with that. And we want to continue to do that. It's going to become challenging. Nonetheless, we are proud of that. And so we want our public to realize that. So now as we look forward, how do we build off of this momentum as we go into the future? We need to continue the academic success. Although we're proud of this, we need to continue to grow and improve upon it. One of the areas that we are focusing in on right now is early literacy. You probably have heard a lot about this area. Right now, Mrs. Pickering and her team are in the process of choosing a new literacy program for our kindergartners through 5th grade. And so really wrapped around the notion of science of reading. And so we look forward to that in the coming months. And also, here's one of those just big educational terms, the multi-tiered systems of support. We're working on that system. Probably some of you, okay, what's that mean? Let me put it in layman's terms. It really is the idea of how do we meet and intervene with students at what they need. So, for example, if I'm a young reader and I need phonics support, we're building a system so that I'm getting the intervention at phonics specifically for me and on a very specific period of time and so many days a week. And it's very systematic so that we can be able to intervene where kids need it in a timely fashion so that they can progress. because we all know that if we have readers by the end of 3rd grade, they're going to be highly successful afterwards. And so that is our objective. But there's other curriculums that we're reviewing. Currently, Mrs. Pickering and her team working on our fine arts curriculum, but we're also looking at what we're doing in the area of counseling and social work. How do we best meet our students? So really putting together a comprehensive program for that as well. And one of the other areas that we want to be very intentional about is building intentional post-graduation pathways. The high school and Mr. Cryer and the team here have done that, and we need to continue to grow on that. Because as we looked at that group of graduates from a couple of slides before, they typically go 4 places. They're going to go off to school, college, 2 or 4 year. They're going to go off to the world of work. They're going to go to a pathway very specific when they were at CTEC. And CTEC, for those, is our career technical education school that we send our students to. We have about 30 in our junior and senior classes. Or they go off to the military. So they are one of those 4 pathways. And so how do we best prepare that and really make intentional pathways for them? And so while they're here at Lakewood High, we're proud of the things we can do for them and what we provide them. These are some of the things that we provide our students right here within our walls. Lean Six Sigma training, ServSafe, OSHA training, etc. These are significant pieces, and I'll be honest, not every school in this area are offering these types of opportunities. So as we look at that specific area, the world of work, that's one of the areas that we need to necessarily really be intentional about building that bridge to. Because we have a pocket of students, probably about 25 to 30%, maybe a year, who are going in that area. How do we help them be prepared for that? Because we've got great partnerships in terms of businesses in our area. These are just some of those partnerships that we have. And in partnerships by meaning we've got either students that are working there, we've got students, we've got graduates and alum that are there, or parents and so forth. But we know that that list is going to grow in the coming years. And the opportunities are going to grow. How do we best prepare that and do that? Another area as we continue on is to increase student involvement in extracurriculars. We have so many opportunities. When I first came here over 4 years ago, I thought, wow, there's a lot of athletics, there's a lot of teams, there's a lot of clubs. This is great. But there's still a pocket of students who don't get involved in those things. I would love every kid in the high school to be involved in something. We've got art, we've got clubs, we've got music, drama, STEM, service, etc. Why do I want that, though? What's the big deal? Here's why it's important. There is so much research around this that when students are involved in extracurricular activities, academic achievement improves, school experience is more positive, motivation increases, and self-esteem. And in a time right now where our students need that great pump, we need to motivate them, we need them to feel good about their experiences, this is why that's an opportunity. And truth be told, kids who I probably had in English class, they probably don't remember Gleichhoff's English class a whole lot. But I bet they remember being on a team, they probably remember going on, being involved in a school play. That stuff is what connects our kids. And so we need to really look at how we can intentionally and purposefully try to make them even more engaged with being a Lakewood Lancer. To that end, Mr. Bowen, our athletic director, we're looking at, we're going to have an athletic task force next Monday for those who are interested. We want to convene stakeholders together, student athletes, coaches, parents, community, gaining critical input on our programs and how we can better increase the opportunities for our kids around those. So if you're interested, please come join us at Lakewood Middle School next Monday. And we want to continue building that pride in being a Lakewood Lancer, current, past, and present. And we need to continue the focus on safety and security. I would be remiss if I did not talk about this. Certainly, safety is a priority. Over the last year, one of the things we did do is we walked through the pillars of what is in our safety plan. And I shared that specifically out in 4 different emails to our parents, talking about the connections we have and the things that we do that are intentional in that work. We have excellent cooperation. We're proud of that with our Licking County Sheriff's Office, our local first responders we have in our village and townships. Even one of our school resource officers is here tonight, this evening. So, but the other thing is too, we do know that safety issues come up and safety concerns come up. And know this, those things are investigated thoroughly and cooperatively, meaning we use our outside resources to do that. And so those are some of the things that are still going to be an area that we have to emphasize and focus in on as we move forward. And we're going to continue to improve our facilities. As I said before, we still have the safety grant, some of those things that still need to be done with that. And right now in this building here, we're working on the controls, the heating and the cooling of that. This building now, believe it or not, is 24 years old. It's no longer just the new building. And so some of these, the infrastructure on it needs to be replaced, and that's one of the elements there. But we're also looking at some of our transportation areas in terms of some of the upgrades there. Security and radios. And radios is one of those things you might overlook. But if you think about our district, 110 square miles, and as the folks here know, we've got 4 townships and 2 villages. It's a pretty big, expansive area. It's going to be critical for us to be able to communicate with buses in all those areas back to our home base and to our schools. And so this is an area that we feel very strongly about and being able to upgrade and improve that. And we want to increase our parent and community involvement with our strategic plan. So I talked about the strategic plan at the beginning of what it is, but we still want more folks involved in that. As I said before, we've got these 4 action teams with the plan. And many of these teams have begun meeting. Actually, I think 3 or 4 of them have already surveyed parts of stakeholders right now to get information so that they can begin to strategize on some of the things that they're working on. And so, please, if there's any parents or community or other members out there who are interested in this, please feel free to email me, and I can put you in touch with the person on any one of these strategic plan teams. Really, as we start to wrap this up, it's an exciting time. This is a great time. It's a great time to be here in Lakewood. It's a great time here to be in Licking County. It's a great time to be in Central Ohio. It's exciting. And what I've heard over and over is this, is that the schools are kind of a focal point for that. And whether that's, developers who are looking to build more, either businesses or homes in the area, it's current residents who look to their schools for that. Whether it's workforce who says, okay, Dr. Glykoff, do you have some students who can do this? New residents who are looking and what are they going to say? Well, what are the schools like? Are they good? Businesses, obviously, looking for workforce. The schools become the focal point. And so whether it's redevelopment, whether it's new development, that we are going to be there. And so one of the elements, I was with the team from Hebron here at the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission just a couple of days ago. They gave a statistic here, and I had to add it to this. They projected over 100,000 more school-age residents by the year 2050 in Central Ohio. That's students between the ages of 5 and 18. And many of those are going to come from other places, obviously. But we need to be prepared for that. And so that's exciting, but it's also very daunting. How do we get prepared for that? And so as we see more people come to our area, we're going to see more business come to our area. We're going to see more development come to our area. How do we help the students who are sitting in our seats be prepared for that and be that? So it's obviously an exciting time, but it's always Lancer time, as we know that. And I know that everybody's would be disappointed if I didn't finish with that. But it is. This is great, and I'm very proud to be here and to be able to do this work with such great people like our administrators, our teachers. but to be honest, it's great to do it with, 1,800 young people who are awesome. And so, Lakewood brings and sends their best to us, and we enjoy them every day. This evening, though, is an opportunity also for us to connect with our communities. And so we want to hear from our community partners. And right in front of me is the new mayor of the village of Hebron, Mayor Mokas. So I'm going to invite you to come forward if you want to share a little bit of what's happening in your part of the world.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming this evening and spending this time with us. I'm so excited to be here. Those of you who know me know that I graduated from Lakewood in the 1900s. Sorry, I love to say that to young people. They stare at you like, wow, you look so young for being in the 1900s. Those of you who know me really well know that I'm extremely proud of being a Lancer and very thankful for growing up in Hebron and graduating from this amazing institution. I will just share that my physics / chemistry / math teacher and my guidance counselor / English teacher, they literally set me down, said, this is where you're going to go to school. This is how you're going to do it. And they put me on this path. And I will always be thankful for that. And I tell everybody who will listen how much I loved the experience I had here. Having said that, you probably know now I am all in on Lakewood. And in Hebron now as the mayor with my whopping 2 months of experience under my belt as mayor, it's been a really great time for us because of the work that's been done, but also an opportunity to really lean into the challenges, which could be really amazing opportunities for not just our village, but for our region and certainly for our school district. We're excited to welcome new development, but we are paying a lot of attention to character and preserving the identity of the village. Brittany Meisner, who you all know, she has spent countless hours talking with me, trying to get our finger on what is that thing that we have in Hebron? What is that identity that we have? Who are we? What makes us different from New York City? What makes us different from Granville, right? Like trying to figure out what that is and then what do we do to preserve that? So that's a big part of the conversations that we're having in the village internally as we are facing developments like the big M word you've all heard bantered around lately, the potential of Microsoft coming in. But we also have a lot of other type of development coming in, including housing. And my understanding is that over the last couple of decades, we've had dwindling numbers in our school district. And so as you have fewer students, you've got this infrastructure sitting here, you've got teachers, you've got all these different things that we're not fully taking advantage of. And while I think that from an identity perspective, a lot of our residents are struggling with the thought of more people being here, from a school perspective, to just get back to where we were would be a really amazing thing for our students. Also, I want to talk just a little bit about our core belief in the village. And I'm speaking for the administration. We believe all the way down. We see the data. We know that good schools play a huge part in why our communities are healthy and thriving. And we also understand that new development can help support some of that as well. The other thing I want to say is it's not just me that's all in. Our administration, we are all in. We are leaning into what can we do to work with Lakewood? What can we do to work with the other village and townships that are within the Lakewood School District? Hebron is really lucky. We are literally fully in the school district. So we don't have to pay attention to other school districts, frankly. We can just focus solely on Lakewood and be very invested in that. And you may notice that in the infrastructure investments we've made. Last year, we completely repaved the entire baseball field parking lot over at Evans. We also repaved the entire walking path. We also, in the softball area at canal. We upgraded the bleachers and we added new lights for softball to be able to be conducted in the evening. We're really excited about student experiences in our village, and we're continuing to lean into that. I don't want to speak for council, but if this year's council is like last year's council, we will continue to find ways to make meaningful improvements to encourage our students' development and enjoyment of outdoors, physical activity, and hopefully just continue to have a great synergy between our village and the school district. If there's anything we can do to work with your team in whatever way that looks, please let us know. We will probably be knocking on your door figuring out how to do that. So thank you for your time this evening, and it is Lancer time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome to the team here as we have all of our groups. Next, I'm going to invite from Licking Township, Mr. John Holman.
Thank you, Dr. Glykoff. Since it was brought up about being a former Lakewood student, I would be remiss if I didn't say the same thing. I am also from the 1900s, midway through the 1900s, I might add. And my wife and I both graduated from Lakewood. Both of our kids graduated from Lakewood. And I have two beautiful granddaughters that I think are probably going to graduate from Lakewood. So I'm a Lancer, true and true, blue and blue. So good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Leap Year Day. We wouldn't have today if it weren't for Leap Year. We'd be in March. So I know we were asked to talk about some of the highlights that occurred in 2023. And I don't want to start out on a negative note, but I want to share with everyone an unfortunate situation that we had in our township last year. But as it turned out, it had a pleasant ending. One of our individuals on our fire department was responding to an accident out on Interstate 70, and the squad had transported the injured person, but the patrolman was still there investigating the accident, and we had a rescue unit there, a fire truck for those of you that, and they typically are trained to barricade the accident scene, which he did. And lo and behold, another individual came down Interstate 70 and lost control of his vehicle and smashed into our rescue vehicle and literally saved the life of the patrolman and our firefighter because of the way he had positioned the truck. It actually knocked the front axle out from underneath our fire truck. If I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't have believed it. But enough of those things. The fortunate part is no one was injured. Everyone walked away from the scene. But it's just an indication of how these folks dedicate their lives every day for our safety and put their own lives at risk and in jeopardy. So wanted to share that with everyone, and I promise I'll be a little more upbeat from that point on. But I have some statistics that our fiscal officer put together for me, and I'll read down through those. We operate in the township on an annual budget of approximately $5 million. In 2023, our expenditures totaled approximately 1.9 million. And I don't have final figures yet, but I was pleased to see the statistic that Dr. Glykoff put up, that your revenue, your expenditures did not exceed your revenue for 2 years. And we have prided ourselves in the township of having that same record only for more than 2 years. We employ 4 elected officials, a full-time fire chief, 2 full-time road personnel, 31 part-time fire and EMS personnel, 1 part-time zoning inspector, 1 part-time zoning clerk, for a total of 40 Licking Township personnel. We're responsible for maintaining 41.05 miles of public roads. And all of those roads, the Lakewood buses travel. So maintaining them means keeping the roads paved, keeping the snow cleared off, and having them passable in times of tornadoes and terrible storms. So we manage and maintain 4 township cemeteries. We issued 56 zoning permits in 2023. We resurfaced and repaired approximately 1 mile of roads in Misty Meadows using OPW grant funds, which is Ohio Public Works. And the entire project was paid for through funding from that grant. We applied for 2 additional OPW grants in 2023. They're pending approval in 2024. And we resurfaced Overdrive and Rosemary Lane that we paid for out of our budget. That was $78,000. And that's an area over near Linville Pike. We received approximately $60,000 in fire and EMS grants, and we've got several folks on the fire department that do a fantastic job of applying for grants, looking for grants, and we've been very fortunate. It seems like there's free money out there, but you have to take the initiative to apply and take the effort or make the effort to make it happen. So my hat's off to the folks at the fire department that are very diligent about that. The fire and EMS runs for the entire year 2023 was 1,323 runs, and it was down just slightly from 2022. 2022 was a record year, and I think it was obviously after the pandemic, and I think people were out just going crazy. So there was a lot of accidents, just a lot of things that we had to respond to as a fire department. And again, I don't have any statistics to prove why or where, but it seems rather strange that in 2023, after we're well past the pandemic, things tapered off again. So we're fortunate. We conducted fire prevention and safety classes for 750 students, grades 1 through 5, primarily from Lakewood. And we also did Eagle Wings at Jacksontown. We proudly escorted over 5 athletic fire truck rides and participated in the Jacksontown United Methodist Easter egg hunt by offering fire truck rides. And I noticed one of the photos that you had in your slide. I know the kids really get a charge out of riding and standing on and getting their picture taken with a fire truck. So we're happy to do that whenever. And the other thing, we received $500 for a MORE grant for safety equipment, and we typically buy boots, gloves, and apparel for our road department through this MORE grant program. We try to make an effort for recycling in our township, and we started out with one dumpster and we're now up to 4 dumpsters. We collected 95,116 pounds of recyclable materials in 2023, and that was up from 2022, which was 85,310. So about a $10,000 increase. I'm sorry, 10,000 pounds. One of the biggest things that we're doing currently is last year we interviewed some folks about updating our comprehensive plan. And I guess when the Intel situation came on the scene, everyone started to panic and thought it was time that we should look at our own house. So our comprehensive plan is 23 years old. I guess the plus side of that is at least we have a comprehensive plan. But it is outdated, and so as I said earlier, we did a little bit of interviewing last year of some folks, and really couldn't make a decision. And I happened to be reading the news and saw where our neighbors down the road had brought on a planning firm, and I thought, you know, if it's good enough for them, it might be good enough for us. So long story short, we passed a resolution at our last meeting to go with Crossroads Community Planning, as Union Township has as well. So you guys are out ahead of us a little bit, so you can forewarn us of any problems that you have. But we had the lady come and talk with us a couple meetings ago, and we were all very impressed with her presentation, her knowledge, the background and experience that she has. And so we're looking forward to forming a steering committee through her recommendations of gathering input from the community. And so her estimate is it takes about 12 months. So our entire 2024 and probably into 25 is going to be devoted to working on a new comprehensive plan. So we'll be in contact with you guys at Union, and any advice or tips that you can give us will be much appreciated. In closing, I would just like to say that I have been a resident of Licking Township more years than I want to remember, and obviously was a school kid here, a parent here, and now I'm one of those 1900 antiques. But we are very, very honored and privileged to have Lakewood School District and Dawes Arboretum as centerpieces in our township. And it's one of those things, they're truly landmarks, and we want to continue to have a good working relationship with the school district and support it in any way possible. And with that, I will close. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holman, and I think this evening really is about relationships. So and so that's why we need to have these evenings. So thank you for that. And I invite Mr. John Slater from Union Township to come forward and speak about what's happening in Union.
Hello, I'm certainly pleased to be here this evening and represent Union Township. I've represented the township on many occasions, and this is probably the first I've ever spoke to you all and here at the school and the school board. It's certainly an opportunity for us to reach out and make you aware of some of the concerns that we have in the township. Old John Slater's definition of township government is one of the oldest forms of government in a constant state of identity crisis. And I say that kind of laughingly because it seems like when you talk about township government, so few people truly understand its essence and where it comes from and a lot of the history that's associated with it. So you go back to when Union Township was formed and really did a lot of what they do today. That was back in 1806. And we've laughed about the 1900s, and here we are dealing with a time back in the 1800s. So it kind of brings me to some of the final comments I'd like to make, and a lot of the concerns I have about maintaining township government. There is a governmental agency out there. There's legislation being proposed to eliminate township governments. And this is a connection that we need to maintain. It's a local government's ability to deal with schools, deal with villages, deal with its own constituents, deal with development. And it's a grassroots connection that we need to maintain. And it's an effort to kind of sever that these legislators, these people that feel they know better, feel that we need to eliminate something that might seem archaic, but is essential. Like I say, Union Township has been around a day or two, and its primary responsibilities is a lot like what Mr. Holman has mentioned. Roads is our major emphasis, either creating roads or maintaining roads or mowing grass. That is what we're to do, is to make the township accessible. And for those that live in the township to be able to visit other areas, to go to town, to do their shopping, this sort of thing. Other responsibilities are cemeteries. That is a priority that's been laid on the townships. And we, like Licking Township, have various cemeteries that we take care of. Some that don't have the best of names. One that's named Devil's Den, of all things. And it has 3 or 4 stones in, and you go out there and you look at the day and that these people died, and again, we're talking the 1800s. But it is people that still have connections to here within Union Township. And it's really amazing the amount of heritage that we have. And all those folks are right there in our own cemeteries. Other things that we like to maintain is the fire and EMS protection. It's certainly an essential part of what the township does, and that's through a contract with West Licking Fire District, as well as Granville Fire Department, Township Fire Department. And those are services that we provide that certainly provide safety and comfort to the community. And probably the fourth thing is zoning. All the township is zoned and is protected from various things that we don't want and do want. And all those are various aspects of the township that we feel are essential. But the thing that we realize that the responsibilities within the township are something that we need other tools in our toolbox to help deal with. And I'm going to go from talking about cemeteries to talking about globalization. And excuse me. Globalization is something that we've enjoyed in this world since World War II. And the United States and its allies are becoming wore out, weary in being this global police force to ensure that global trade takes place. And the thing we've seen over the past years, I myself am a Lakewood graduate, and during a time when we just saw our jobs going overseas and our manufacturing going overseas. I even had a family member that worked abroad to help facilitate the moving of major industry from the United States to abroad. And that's becoming to an end. Some say that globalization is going to be gone, that we'll no longer have that type of security. And we're seeing this with the Intel and with Microsoft and so on. Reshoring these industries, the need for jobs is going to be, part of our community, our cities, our townships, and we're seeing this type of need every day. So with that, I guess the township has undergone changes to its comprehensive plan. We're about 15 months into it. Hope to have it underway and approved here in June, and that'll certainly be a milestone. I think quite an accomplishment for a township that itself had a comprehensive plan that was 21 years old. And that is basically helping the township develop a template that helps encourage development where it wants that to happen, and where we want rural settings to stay rural. And we always talk about rural character. And that definition is broadly and widely defined in many, many ways. But for me, rural character in Union Township has changed tremendously just since I've been a township trustee. And what I want to see is we maintain that to some degree the best we can. And I think through the efforts of our comprehensive plan and our zoning, that will certainly help maintain this rural character. And with that all being said, there's various things that we've done. We've identified an economic development zone that is a corridor that lies along US 40. And within that, that area is going to lend itself to certain types of development, certain types of industry, and things have been put into place to allow that to happen. We've developed a JED, a Joint Economic Development District, in that area to help provide cost relief to the creation of the infrastructure needed there. We hope to have water in the area probably within 6 to 12 months. That's provided by a local entity. And all these things are there to help further and help develop the township, to help provide jobs. There's about 52% of Union Township folks that are in that working age, ages 25 to about 63 or 4, that might be looking for opportunities, and obviously the type of industry and business that want to move into this area are looking for that type of a resource. And Union Township in our community, whether it be Hebron or Licking Township, is going to lend itself well to that type of thing. But yet, all this needs to be done and with the same kind of priority that Mayor Mocha spoke of, that we need to maintain who we are. And remember that we are a rural community with farming and with industry and with schools and with social work. All this needs to be intertwined and somehow figure out a way to make it all work. And I think through our comprehensive plan, a lot of the efforts that we've made is going to make that certainly an important aspect. And with my parting words, again, I want to re-emphasize the fact that township government might seem old, it might seem archaic, but it's essential. It's something that my great-grandfather was involved in. He was a fiscal officer back in the day, and he was able to give back to his community. And certainly it's something I find and cherish quite well in my life. It's my ability to give back to the community and help promote the things that we feel that are near and dear to our hearts. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Slater. Just to check, do we have anybody here from Buckeye Lake or Franklin Township or Bowling Green Township? I just want to double check. I didn't think so, but nonetheless, you know, it's great to hear from Lakewood graduates. So, you know, as much as, you know, we talk about, well, you know, you are Union Township or you are Village of Hebron and you are, you know, the Licking Township, I think we can say we are Lakewood. And that's where the collective, and know that we are proud to serve the townships and the villages. And we're excited about that. And that's what really this evening's about, is because of that. It's the community, it's our schools, and how we can really support. And we are all into the same thing. So with that, really want to kind of open it up if anybody has questions for any of the folks here, whether it's, you know, from our different constituencies or the schools. So if there's any questions that people have or comments they want to make. Yeah. Correct. Oh, the modular classrooms. Yep. Hmm. Sure. Certainly. Well, thank you, and certainly the credit goes to the team that really did the due diligence on that, um, and certainly the Board of Education. As you know, we talked about what we wanted to do vision-wise with that. We felt imperative that we connected it to the main building. You know, obviously for in safety and security as well. So, but that was due to a lot of hard work on a lot of folks. But again, it's not the ultimate. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't say it, that, you know, the ultimate ideal is to have a new elementary school for the school district at some point in the future. Exactly. In the meantime. So, but I would be remiss if I did not mention that. So, thank you for that comment. Anything else? I do want to say thank you to everybody who came tonight, those who are watching. We really, you know, again, like I said, we are Lakewood. We're excited. We've got good things to be proud of, but we also have a bright future ahead of us. So thanks, everybody, and have a good evening.